Sangha is a great refuge, but we're often hard pressed to say precisely why. In other words, you can't put your finger on it. What's so special about the way we come together, share with one another, labor and laugh, showing ourselves strong and vulnerable. We see each other at our best, and occasionally we see each other at our worst. Yeah, that's how it works. If you aren't seeing all of that, you're not practicing well. Everything's included in this. All the ingredients come in. If we aren't including everything, we aren't practicing well. And yet, sometimes we think things are too ordinary or too mundane, and so we try to pass over them. There's a case in the Shōyōroku. It's the 78th case. It says a little bit something about this. It's called Umon's Farm Rice Cake. The case is, a monk asked Umon, "What is speech that transcends the Buddhas and goes beyond the ancestors?" Umon replied, "Farm rice cake. Farm rice cake. That's it. Just farm rice cake." So for those of you who have been walking through many of these koan collections, you'll recognize this Umon character comes up over and over again. He appears more often than any other teacher in all the cases. He was born around 864, and he taught for over 40 years. He actually started his teaching career at 47 years old, which ironically is when I received transmission and started my teaching career. He had a way of pointing that was very disarming in its simplicity. But at the same time, it was uncompromising in its depth. So what is this speech that transcends Buddhas and goes beyond ancestors? When we hear that, we expect something profound. Something weighty, some obscure Dōgen fascicle that sends us reeling, or a koan that splits us open, so we never quite see the same way again. But instead, in this case, Umon hands us some of the most banal nourishment you can receive. A farm rice cake. So, David loves rice cakes. Loves them. And if you go into the store, you'll see all the varieties that are there, right? He's particularly the caramel ones, but there's so many flavors. We went to Spain, Madrid, and they have even more. They actually have vegetable-flavored rice cakes. We got him a tomato-flavored rice cake, and he was amused. He wasn't impressed, but he was amused by it. But the funny thing here is that Umon's not talking about any form of novelty. Yeah? He's talking about the humble, hearty farm rice cakes, the ones meant to sustain you while you labor in the fields. But if you think that they're plain, it's because you really haven't tasted them. When we gather together to eat here, we recite the meal gatha. And the meal gatha begins, "First, 72 labors brought us this food. We should know how it comes to us." Do we? Do we reflect on that? Do we know? When you give it your full attention, you actually begin to taste more than grain. You can taste the rain and the wind, the sweat and the soil and the sun, the effort and the care, and all the invisible lives, all of the moments that make that one bite possible. It's all there, moment by moment, offered up. There's nothing missing, nothing excluded, nothing needs to be added. When we recite our gatha, the next verse is, "Second, as we can receive this offering, we should consider whether our virtue and practice deserve it." Do they? Because here's the truth. If anything's left out of our conscious awareness, if there's anything that we discard or push aside, if there's some part of your life or self you've labeled as unworthy or too profane or too messy to be included, then you defiled the very offering that's in front of you. That is your life. You've taken the gift, but you've separated some notion of self from it. So now it's incomplete. And the longer version of this case, a lot of the cases have a longer version. This one's no exception. The monk continues on by asking, what's the connection? What connection is there between a farm rice cake and transcending the Buddhas and ancestors? Yeah? The question we all want to ask. The question we're asking where this case is pointing to. And Umon answers, exactly. What's the connection? Yeah. Then, what are you calling Buddhas? And what are you calling ancestors? That's how he follows up. He's turning the whole question inside out. Because we have this tendency. We lift up Buddhas and we push down demons. We revere the sacred and we reject the flawed. But Zen is not interested in this kind of duality. If there's any part of your experience that you're hiding away, some guilt, some grief, some shadow that you pretend doesn't belong, that's not there, right? It'll keep showing up. It'll keep gnawing at the edge of practice until you finally give in and turn towards it and include it. Till you actually taste it. Yeah. Umon's not trying to be difficult here. He's revealing our error, our tendency to put Buddha over here and rice cake over there, sacred on one side, ordinary on the other. We're always sorting, always ranking, always splitting reality in two. And that brings us to the pointer that comes before this case. So in the Shōyōroku, there's a pointer listed before every case. It says, when you seek cost, when you seek the cost all over heaven, you'll be paid the price all over the earth. To seek after 100 schemes is just a shame. Isn't there someone who knows to advance and to retreat, and who recognizes the duality? This is a warning, right? If you keep chasing some exalted experience, some heavenly notion of awakening, you'll pay the price in your actual life. You'll pay it through your body. You'll pay it in your relationships. You'll pay it especially in your present moment awareness. You'll be turning in circles, exhausting yourself with 100 schemes. It's not uncommon for us to seek enlightenment by going somewhere else. Maybe that somewhere else is somewhere mentally or spiritually. Sometimes we even physically remove ourselves and put them somewhere else. Yeah? But when we do that, we miss the life that's already happening, that's already unfolding right before us. The rice cake's already here. The Dharma's already unfolding in your everyday movements. We have to recognize it. To advance and to retreat knows to mean know when to step forward and when to yield. It means not grasping, not looking for some rarefied notion of what it is, not resisting, but flowing with the truth of the moment as it presents itself. When we recognize the duality, we see the trap. The minute we split reality into better and worse, sacred and profane, we're outside the Dharma gate. Yeah. The Dharma gate that's created, right, through our picking and choosing. But we never seem to end up on the right side of it. So this is why the real work of the path is not polishing or cherishing what's holy and discarding the rest. It's bringing everything into view, not just the Buddhas, but also the demons, getting to know them extremely well, seeing what makes them tick. You created them after all, yeah? You just have to, when you commune with them, when you open to them, they lose their power because there's no separateness at that stage. We don't want to look at just the clean and the fragrant parts. Yeah? Sometimes the flies in the latrine tell an important story too. Umon says of this, in the 24 hours of the day, wearing a robe, eating, defecating, urinating, even the flies in the latrine, is there still any speech that transcends the Buddhas and ancestors? There is. But you can only hear it when you stop dividing. Dōgen picked up the same thread 6 centuries later. He wrote, all Buddhas are realization. Thus, all things are realization. That includes a rice cake and a painting of a rice cake. Know that a painted rice cake is your face before your parents were born. And more, Umon's rice cake is a statement that goes beyond Buddhas and surpasses ancestors, an activity that enters Buddhas and enters demons. When you understand this meaning with your body and mind, you'll thoroughly master the ability to turn things and be turned by things. There's no experience we must exile. And when you accept all of it, then you can work with skill and precision as you show up right on the spot with everything at your disposal. Nothing's omitted. Yeah. Not your confusion, not your weakness, not even your shadow. And when you stop trying to exile it, when you gather it all up, when you include it, when you paint it lovingly with the full brush of your attention, then something happens. Yeah. You stop being the one who's turning the Dharma, and you recognize the Dharma turning you. Yeah. And then the distinction drops away. So be on the lookout today. What is your farm rice cake? Yeah. What's the thing you've ignored because it seemed too ordinary? Or what's the part of you you've hidden away because it's too profane? Recognize, invite it to the table, see it as the offering that's sitting right in front of you, waiting to be received. Whole. Take it up. Eat it fully. Taste all the 72 labors. And let it nourish you. And bow. Because that's the speech that transcends all the Buddhas and ancestors.